Hey, how are you? I am Burke and you're watching Road Odyssey. So this video is all about the 2000 Vette, a little bit more of an in-depth review. And so let's just kind of get started first off with why we bought this car. Number one reason, my wife and I like Corvettes. She wanted one, and so it's all for her to have fun. So aside from that, it's a cheap car because it was salvage title. And so being kind of short, she has a problem with her depth perception a little bit. And so she can learn to adapt with this car. And if it gets beat up, she won't get mad at herself. I won't get mad. It's all good. It's a great learning car because it's so expensive and it's already kind of beat up a little bit. So who cares? We could also daily drive it. We could take it on long trips. If it gets dirty, rock chips, whatever, we don't care. It's all in the spirit of having fun and relaxing. We also got it for the YouTube content. Being a salvage title car, other people might get an idea of what we're going through in order to maintain and to bring this car up to spec in terms of handling, alignments, any engine fixes, things like that. So it may be kind of good for y'all in that respect. Another reason is it could be a hand-me-down to our son or daughter, and the insurance is low. So there's all kinds of reasons for buying a salvage title car, and in our case, being this Corvette. So now what follows will be price comparisons and other vehicle comparisons, and just kind of a walk around of the exterior and the interior of the car to let you know kind of the truth about what this car really is. So here we go. All right, so these next three pictures are for similar Corvettes, high mileage, showing you what they are valued at out on the internet. This is from Auto Trader, Car Gurus, people like that. So, we're going to have about $7,000, a little bit south of that, put into this car so far. We'll probably put in maybe another 1,000 at the most. So we're looking at an $8,000 salvage title car versus these other cars that are for sale right now. So are we really getting our money's worth? Maybe not. So anyway, here's the price comparison. This next clip is comparing the Corvette to the Silverado. It has the appearance that on paper, Silverado would really give the Corvette a good race. So kind of giving you an idea of what's the difference over a 15 years period. The Corvette's still a fast car, but so are modern day pickup trucks. So anyway, so here's this clip. Alright, so let's start looking at the exterior of this 2000 Vette. Remember, it's salvage title, so let's see what kind of flaws we can find. And let's begin right up here up front. So we have a bad headlight cover. So you've got this crease right here. See if I can, there you go. You see that there? When you look at the seams of the car, you'll be able to see not only the headlight cover being not quite positioned well, but the front bumper seam is not consistent, so it begins to get a little wider over here. These wheel wells, may not be able to see that. I'm going to turn you sideways for a second here, but these wheel wells are kind of eaten up in the front, and you can kind of see some of this is not positioned well anymore. And right here, the window's actually indexed up fairly well right now, but typically there's a little bit of a gap right here. You can kind of see the gap down here gets a little bigger. The rear is just like the front. There's our neighbor's puppy dog. Hi, buddy. Say hello. Good boy. All right, back to this. All right, when you look down the hatch, it is wider here and then more narrow over here. So there's that. So the hatch is not quite lined up well. Here's a good spot for you. You can really see how this is just not right. It does have a heads-up display, but that's not working. Here's one other thing right here, this crack. All right, so let's start looking on the inside just for wear and tear. On both sides of the car, these are missing. All right. It's fairly clean. Seats in pretty much a condition you would expect. So the driver's seat's not bad, it operates. So not a problem there. Seat on the other side, of course, has got a rip in it. All right, so let's go along the dash and see what kind of things are wrong with it. We have a knob missing right there, which is okay. I was just fiddling with this last night, and you know, it does operate even though there's no knob on there. It's the light intensity of the display, of this display, and you know, other lights in the car. So anyway, no big deal there. All this works. These are all okay. Everything on the door works. That is all right. What's funny is this right here. See how this is getting kind of wide? It's supposed to be a nice little clean notch. People don't know to push in the key to turn it. So that's why that's kind of jacked up. All of this works. No problem there. Right here, this nice little hole is supposed to have, I believe, the hazard light. So I need to find one of those. Radio works fine, nothing wrong there. AC works. But right here, this console is getting pretty beat up. So you'll see a crack here. Some little cracks over here. And of course, a big gaping hole. This stuff looks really ugly. So covers. That's pretty bad. Another crack or two here. And this thing is hideous. It's just all needs to be put back together or something. Most likely I will just buy a new one at some point in time if I can find one. Or I'll just get a new one, say like off West Coast Corvettes or something. Alright, and this is the, I guess, the redneck way of fixing your glove box so it'll stay together. That's wonderful. We got a wire hanging down there. Haven't even tried to look at that yet. So, and this seat here does not operate, which from what I understand, that is typical for these cars. Oh, and another great thing, somebody has taken the visors. Target top looks pretty bad, so we'll need to get this thing fixed up. And trunk space, it's kind of in bad shape. I mean, you know, it just needs putting back together and stuff. So the hatch, it needs some work as well. Service tire monitors, hatch ajar. So this hatch ajar is very irritating. Need to get that taken care of at some point in time. But I really have bigger issues before I even mess with that. Such as the engine light. And the engine light is all about the O2 sensors. So I need to get the O2 sensors changed out and a couple of other things that I'll tell you about later. Alright, so as you can see, the car started right up. No issue there. We drove it, like I said, for a good 8 hours yesterday. 500 plus miles. It just ran like a champ. The car drove fantastic. You know, really good get up and go. And we went through the hills and mountains of East Oklahoma, and it just did great. The torque, it was able to go up the hills with no issue whatsoever, and there's some pretty steep hills. I will include some clips of our drive in just a little bit here so you can kind of see what we were up to. But it was a good long test drive, and this thing, it just drove really well. I was very happy with it. So to me, in my mind, yeah, the car is beat up, it's been used and abused, but you know, I'm not going to be putting but $7 grand, you know, less than $8 grand into this car, and it's going to be fun, you know. So I think we're going to get our value out of this, and I hope that these things that I've shown you so far will give you an idea of, you know, what it's like to have a salvage title car. So anyway, there you go.